Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Stunning Steve Barber, and joining me, as always, is my absolutely fantastic co-host, the intellectual rock star himself, Delicious Dwaylon Davis.
Hey, everybody.
And wow, when we were doing the last episode, we were talking about news, and at the very end, we're both like, "Is there anything else to report on?" And we both went, "Nope." Not even thinking that it was, in 2 days there was going to be
Yeah, there's,
uh
in my defense, there's been too many shows.
yeah,
Like,
I mean, it make yeah.
it's like AEW's had, in a span of a month and a half almost, they've had three pay-per-views.
Hmm.
And then this will be WWE's second one. So it's like five pay-per-views in, say, 2 months.
Are
It's
you
like,
are you including the NXT in that count?
no, not
So
including the NXT. So that's six.
six of
Yeah.
them. Um, Not to mention all the other wrestling stuff that's been going on, and
Hmm.
so yeah, Fast Lane. And just wasn't on my radar. And the sad thing, it happened about 2 hours away from where I live, and I'm going to actually guess probably maybe 4 hours away from where you're at.
Yeah.
It was in
Yeah. It was in
Indianapolis,
Indianapolis. Yeah.
so it was
Yep.
actually. It was
Kind of.
close enough that I know at least one person who went to it. In fact, her too, Breezy. She posted on her Facebook that she
Yep.
was there. So, but yeah, I felt bad after. I was like, how did we miss that? Besides the fact there's too many shows and we're just getting old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we apologize to everybody who was in there shaking their heads, going, "You dummies."
Like no preview. It's
I mean, and also in our defense, both Dwayne and I have had a lot of stuff going on in our
yeah.
personal life.
Yeah.
Um, not to throw a lot of stuff out there, but you know, Dwayne has a wife who's expecting. Uh, I have a wife who has to have an annual surgery like every this time of year. This year it's on her foot, and I've been trying to take care of her. Um, and this year is her foot. Last year she had a TENS unit put in her spine. The year before that, she had a pain pump put in because she has a lot of back issues, and
hmm
so we've been busy, taking care of our families,
Yep.
because and it wasn't just like the normal, hey, all right, you got food, all right, cool. It
Yeah.
was like really like taking care of our families,
Yeah. Yep.
So and so we're trying to get back in the swing of things, and our bad. I mean, we can't
Sorry.
change it. I can go back and try to edit. Oh yeah, by the way, there's Fast Lane. We'll talk about that now. But we do have we did mention the other day, last time we recorded, that we will have an episode soon talking about the economics of being a wrestling fan.
hmm
That is something that that we're going to be working on. Um, and if you are a YouTube watcher, definitely I'll have something for that. Just because this is something in my analyst mind, because my last job was as a business planning analyst, and plus I was doing analysis type stuff in the military, and including some of that was financial type analysis because I was a resource advisor. So this is almost like right up my alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives me a chance to make sure I'm keeping my MBA skills up. Because I'm apparently I can't find a job. Um, so, but it's actually probably a good thing I'm not working right now, because if I was, it'd been a lot harder to take care of my wife
Yep.
and my and my really more my son and my daughter, because I mean she's 21. So
Yeah.
um, but Fastlane, which I don't know if they, in fact, we should probably ask them. Did you plan on the name based on the town? Because I mean, yeah, it's not the first Fastlane, but it's not one they do all the time.
No, this is I think this is the first one in a couple of years they've had a fast lane. They probably did. They probably because they were in Indy. So
And believe me, if you had the audio on while you were listening, you knew they were all about race cars and Fastlane, because almost every time they talk to you,
yeah.
that was kind of annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. It got annoying after about the third time.
So I'm going, what was that? No, are they seriously doing race car noises?
hmm
Uh, I did like Pat McAfee coming out there. It made sense. He played for the Colts.
I did too. I
Yep.
liked, even though not a Colts fan by any
Right.
stretch, but
Right.
I do like those NFL Legacy Championship belts. I need a Green Bay Packers win. Speaking of Green Bay Packers, they're playing the Raiders right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd have known that or not, except for I downloaded this earlier. Did that just for you, my friend.
I appreciate that.
For those of you who are audio only, I just changed my background to where it is the Raiders insignia. In fact, let me lean back a little bit so you can see it full. You can see my head right in the middle of the helmet there.
Y'all are winning right now, 7-3.
Yeah, they just scored.
So 4 minutes left in this second quarter. So that's okay. We got time. That's all right.
Yep. So that was actually perfect time. And whenever we mentioned that, also looked down the score, it just changed. But yeah, I'll change it back so you don't have to look at that the entire time.
Yeah. Not trying to say that logo the whole show. No.
But I mean, it's there for the funny. If they score again, I will change the logo again.
Oh, I don't blame you. I mean,
yeah,
I expect it.
I mean, if you have the Green Bay Packers thing on your computer, if you change the logo, yeah, I mean,
sure would.
Go for it. So, but yeah, I thought McAfee coming there, like we are saying, that was a cool touch. Because McAfee, I mean, I actually have a lot of respect for him because I mean, he respects wrestling.
Oh yeah.
So, even though he was the punter, so you normally don't see the punter going that hard, but he does. But like we were talking about before we started recording, I didn't think it was horrible, but I didn't think the show was that great. It was kind of like right in the middle.
Yeah, like you said before we started recording, it was better than a Raw or a SmackDown, but it wasn't on the same level as the past several shows. Past several shows have been excellent. They kind of set the bar high with Backlash, and then that's one of the best shows they've done all year, and everything else has been good. Has been really good. So this one kind of fell off a little bit, but again, not a terrible show, by any stretch. Just, in my opinion, not at the same level as the last several premium live events.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll talk about some of the positives that I noticed, and then some of the not so positives. One of the things I will say, if you're going to have a 3.5, 4 hour show, you should probably have more than 5 matches.
Yeah. That doesn't mean you have to have like 14 matches like Wrestle Dream had,
right?
Which all of them were good from what I understand. There wasn't a bad match in the bunch, but 14 matches is much, but 5 is too few, like you said, for a show that's 3.5, 4 hours long.
And you know what? Speaking of like mathematics and economics, let me see. Well, the matches, good Lord. The shortest match was 10 minutes long.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate them giving the matches time, but at the same time, it's like there were other things that should have been on that show, like a Rhea Ripley title defense.
Yes.
It's like, it's one thing you see on Twitter constantly, people are complaining Roman hasn't defended the title in 190 days or something like that. Roman is at the point where Roman is the attraction of WWE. Every time he is on television or a premium live event, they know they know ratings are gonna pop, and they know tickets are gonna get sold because his appearances are few and far between. I personally don't have an issue with that because I gotten to the point to where with WWE, I got tired of seeing the champion on television every week. I understand. I'm kind of old school, and you did not see you like Flair. You didn't see Flair on TV every single week. He might come out and cut a promo, but you didn't see Flair wrestle.
He didn't wrestle every single week. Right.
No, he didn't wrestle every week. And there were times you didn't get a Flair promo. Flair was off wrestling in some other territory, or he was wrestling overseas. And so we grew up with that. And then we also grew up with Hogan. You didn't see Hogan on TV.
The only time I remember, The only time I ever remember really seeing Hogan on TV was when the angle with Orndorff was kicking off.
Yeah, that, and then Saturday night's main event when
Yep.
when him and Savage fell out. You
Right.
know,
I mean, there wasn't many times with when
no,
Hogan
and
would show up.
so we grew up with that. I'm personally okay with that because like they kind of killed it for me with when John Cena was champion, and it's like I get the world champion is the centerpiece of the company, but there are other people in the there's other wrestlers in that company besides who's the world champion. And when John Cena, especially John Cena, not just him, but especially when Cena was the champion, the whole show was all about, you know, John Cena did this or somebody did this to John Cena or blah 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 blah. And it's like it took away from the other matches.
Right.
I feel like with how Roman's schedule is, everybody's getting a chance to breathe and actually be able to, step up. I mean, look at what Shinsuke's done. Shinsuke's just reinvented himself from what they gave him to now he's back to what got him there in the first place. This is the Shinsuke Nakamura that I watched in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Shinsuke could be a bloodthirsty killer,
Exactly.
and it would be awesome. I would love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Right now he's like the final boss of an anime and it works perfectly. He's playing mind games, he's vicious in the ring. It all works. Ah, they scored again.
Yeah, they did. Just a
For
field goal, but
anybody
they
that,
scored.
yeah,
I
10 to
just said,
3.
yeah, 10-3 Raiders. I just changed the background to the Raiders just for Dwaylen. You should have thought about having the Green Bay background. That's all I'm saying. So
Yeah,
okay, I'll
all
put it back.
right.
It was only a field goal. I'll put it back. If I had a if I had a Green Bay background, I would put a few. but but yeah, Shinsuke. In fact, that I that match along with a lot of the other ones on here, I did not. The matches themselves, I mean, were actually good. Shinsuke and Seth Rollins. I mean, that was a brutal match, which it was
That
designed
was,
to be a brutal match.
yeah, it was one of the better last man standing matches that they've put on in the last several years.
I
It,
just didn't agree with the outcome of that one. I mean, I could see, well, with Shinsuke, it's like push, push, push. Oh, nope. Here, we're going to pull the rug out from under you.
yeah, and it's like they did it to him with, they did it to him with AJ. He wins the Rumble, challenges AJ for the title. We're thinking we're getting AJ and Shinsuke from Wrestle Kingdom, and the match was good, but not that level of good. And, like you said, push, 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 and then, but we don't pull the trigger. That's what they've done with him and Seth Rollins. And it's like, this is his second opportunity at the title. And you've had a one-on-one match and you've had a last man standing match. Generally, last man standing match is the end of that feud.
That's the rubber match.
Yeah. But they've had two matches. Shinsuke's lost both of them, both title matches. Where does Shinsuke go from there? You can't put him back in the mid card.
Nope.
You pushed him to the main event, so you can't put him back in the mid card. But Seth Rollins has got to move on to somebody else unless they do a third match and actually let Shinsuke win.
One thing that might help Shinsuke is him being part of a faction, I think. And
Yeah.
that just now popped in my head because Shinsuke, I mean, he's kind of always been kind of alone.
Mm-hmm.
He's
The only
his
time
own
he's
man.
been in only time he's been in kind of a group was on SmackDown when it was him, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn was the Intercontinental Champion, and Cesaro and Shinsuke were the tag champions.
I mean, that's not a hodgepodge.
I know, right?
Wow.
But other than that, yeah, he's always been by himself, and I just don't know where they go from here with him losing this match. Was it a good match? Yes, but Shinsuke should have won.
And one of the reasons we also kind of bring up Shinsuke already because our friend Kyle actually sent Joel and I a message and he mentioned Shinsuke. Uh, amongst others, he said, he even said, "Look what they're doing to Nakamura." He said, "You cannot expect people to pay to watch guys they know will lose."
He's absolutely right. I
Yeah,
mean, especially, I mean, they did it to Shinsuke with AJ Styles. He had three, maybe four title matches. He had a match at WrestleMania, a match at Money in the Bank, a match at Saudi. I think he had four shots at AJ for the title, and they still wouldn't let him win it. Samoa Joe is the same way. He had three straight matches with
yeah,
AJ for the title. Why you would not put your I don't understand anybody who would not put their world title on Samoa Joe.
exactly. I because Samoa Joe, I mean, he looks the part. He can do just about everything in the ring. He's a big
Hmm.
man, but he's quick as a cat.
Yeah.
He's just cool. Samoa Joe is one of
And
the coolest people in the ring.
he just has that presence, and he's on that short list of people that when they talk, you believe every word that comes out of their mouth. Like
Hmm.
for me, Eddie Kingston is the realest dude in pro wrestling right now, but Samoa Joe's on that list.
Yeah,
It's like everything he says, you feel it, you believe it. He convinces you of what he's saying is right. And but WWE wouldn't pull the trigger. Now, when he was in NXT, he's the only three-time NXT champion. Triple H would pull the trigger on him in
hmm
NXT, but Vince wouldn't do it on the main roster.
and if this is how much stock that WWE, well, more NXT, when he was with them, that how much they had in him. You look at the, uh, I think it was 2K17.
Hmm.
Um, when you were training, your person,
Yeah.
you had to beat Samoa Joe,
Uh huh.
the very first thing, because
Yep.
he was the measuring stick for NXT. He was the very first match you had to have. And when we went and watched AEW Dynamite, God, it's almost a month ago now. Um, when Samoa Joe came out, my son actually looked and said, "Isn't he the one who was on 2K?" I'm like, "Sure was."
Yep.
So that was him. But yeah, um, and one of the other things that Kyle actually talks about, we're talking about the results of all these matches. One of the things I noticed literally right before we were starting to record, I don't know why
Hmm.
it didn't occur to me before. They had five matches. The results, um, and I'll just mention them real quick before we go over like an examination of just the matches individually. Cody and Jey Uso over Judgment Day for the tag team titles. To
We'll
me, that
get into
makes
that, but
yeah,
that makes no sense.
yeah, it makes no sense. Um, Carlito, who was the mystery partner,
Hmm.
honestly, that one it should not have been a surprise because Carlito, when they had the pay per view down in Puerto Rico, Carlito showed
Backlash.
up.
Yeah. Yep.
Backlash, yeah, that was
Yep.
awesome show, like you said, one of the best pay per view, PLE, whatever, one of the best events that they've done a long time. Carlito showed up and showed, yeah, people still like Carlito. They never
Yeah.
disliked Carlito, even when he was a
Yeah.
bad guy, spitting apples in people's faces,
Yeah.
because they weren't cool, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm kind of wish I would have actually met Carlito when they had the stuff in Williamsburg, Ohio, just right down the road a few years ago.
Mm,
Like this past time, they had EC3. Last year they had Jimmy Hart and Lance Archer. A
yeah.
couple years ago they had Carlito,
Oh, okay.
and he's made appearances. So now, wish I'd met, because once they go WWE, they don't do
They don't
shots
get to
like
do
that.
that. Yeah.
Yep. But Carlito's showing back up as part of the LWO makes sense. But them over Bobby Lashley and Street Profits, and I know they're trying to turn Street Profits heel and Bobby Lashley. People don't want to boo them,
No,
and
they don't
but
want to
they,
boo Lashley either.
yeah,
They don't want to boo all three of them. I mean, if they're going to turn them heel, then they've got to go all in with it.
yes,
It can't be 1 week we've got the Street Profits jumping people from behind, and then the next week we've got the Street Profits coming out, dancing and putting on a show when their theme music hits, and it's like,
Hmm.
no, it's like pick a side.
Yep.
It's not how you do a heel turn.
Don't be straddling the fence.
Yeah,
Come out and actually do it. But the LWO, I mean, I know the LWO right now, they're not going to have them as heels. And it's almost
right.
like they needed an opponent. But
Hmm.
why waste the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley, or even Bobby Lashley by
That's
himself?
what I don't
Why
understand.
waste it?
If you're trying to establish these three guys as a force to be reckoned with, then they should have ran through the LWO, especially, and no disrespect to Rey Mysterio or Santos Escobar, but the story should have been they already took out one member of LWO, so it was a 2-on-1 advantage. There was a 3-on-2 advantage. They should have mowed through them to make a
Yes.
statement. There should have
Yes.
never been an opportunity for Carlito to come out at the end of the match and save the day. They should have just had them mow through Ray and Santos to make a statement. Like, we told you what we were going to do. Here's how we're starting. We're coming for, they said in a promo, they were coming for everything. So mow through the U.S. champion and his partner and make a statement. Instead, they get booked to lose on their first match as a trio.
Yep.
Makes
And
absolutely no sense.
um and like Kyle even said, the message he sent to us, he said this is the opposite of printing money.
Exactly. And with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, you can literally print money. That's,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we've said it before. In the dictionary, you look at professional wrestler, you see a picture of
it's
Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley. JBL used to say it was Randy Orton. No, it nothing against Randy Orton, but it's Bobby Lashley. I mean, everything about Bobby Lashley screams professional wrestler. It screams star. And Montez Ford is the same way.
Yes.
Angelo Dawkins is getting there. Angelo Dawkins, as far as his character work and how he carries himself, has improved so much. And it's like, just turn them heel. This is not one of those cases where you're doing the slow burn. We already know what they're supposed to be. So just turn them. This is not like on Raw where they've got Drew McIntyre doing the slow heel turn, doing the
Right.
slow burn. Okay, that makes sense. But with the Street Profits, we already know Bobby Lashley is supposed to be a heel anyway. If you're aligned with Bobby Lashley, it automatically makes you a heel. Just pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm. And they, I don't know. They need to figure out what they want to do with Lashley, because you cannot let Bobby Lashley go somewhere else. You need to use him correctly.
No.
And the Street Profits, same way. Like you said, Montez Ford. I mean, as long as Montez Ford can actually stay healthy, because I mean, just his style. I mean, the aerial style is
Mm-hmm.
always injury. You have the risk of injury
Mm-hmm.
because it's just very, very high impact. I mean, look at
Yeah.
Mustafa Ali. Look at Ricochet.
Mm-hmm.
They've had more injuries because their style. I mean, it's very, well, gravity.
Yeah,
Gravity
exactly.
affects everybody. For them, it affects them more because our gravity,
They're higher up. Yeah.
we're higher up. So, um, and Angelo Dawkins, he actually his shape, I guess, but best way to put it, kind of reminds me of like a Samoa Joe or even a Bam Bam Bigelow.
Mm-hmm.
You
And he
know,
is actually, you can tell he's been in the gym and has slimmed
mm-hmm.
down some. And it's like, he's putting in the work. Montez always puts in the work. Lashley always puts in the work. You're supposed to reward hard work, not feed them to, you know, not feed them to people that, if you're going by believability, it is not believable that Santos and Rey Mysterio are beating Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits.
Right. I mean, as much as what we love Rey Mysterio,
Mm-hmm.
he's all of 5'1", maybe.
Yeah.
And Bobby Lashley would pick him up and break him like a
Yeah.
toothpick with
He
one
gets
hand.
built. I think Ray's build at like 5'6", which makes him probably about 5'4".
Yeah. I mean, and even that might be stretching it. I
Yeah,
mean,
but I mean, I don't
um,
know. That outcome just did not make any sense to me. I mean, and I don't know. Uh, I felt like they were just like it. I felt like too, it messed up the match. It messed up the flow of the match because it seemed like everybody was just waiting around for Carlito to make his return.
They should have had him come out at the very beginning, not
Yeah,
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 because
he should have just came out with them, not be the surprise person because the focus wasn't on what was going on in the ring. The focus was on who's the third man.
and this was the shortest match on the card, 10 minutes. 10 minutes for a 6-man match with a mystery partner.
Yeah,
So that one, and by the way, one of the people in the match was the US champion.
yeah.
Why isn't he defending the
Again,
title?
why isn't he defending the title?
Um, where's the Intercontinental Champion?
Yeah, where's the intercontinental? No intercontinental title match. No
Rhea
women's
Ripley.
tag. No women's world championship match. No United States match.
No women's
No
tag
women's
team.
tag team match. It's like, why have all these titles if you're not going to put them on these big shows?
And like I said, the match itself, I mean, was not bad. You
No, it
know,
wasn't
you know,
bad, but
but
the way it was set up though.
this one could have been like a Raw or SmackDown match. But
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. This
yeah,
one was the way it was booked was more of, something you see not even the main event of Raw or SmackDown, but maybe second hour of the show.
right. And um, I'm gonna jump back to the very first match, and because I think we both have a lot to say about this one, Cody and Jey Uso defeated the Judgment Day for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. Okay,
Which makes no
no sense.
no sense at all.
Um,
Not a bit.
I believe is it Cultaholic? They've had like they rank like certain things. They had this whole series where they rank whatever, and it's like every tag team champion,
Mm-hmm.
ever in WWE. And the two that actually they put at the very bottom below Braun Strowman and Nicholas. When they won,
Yeah.
that was a travesty.
Yeah.
But they have any team put together just to split them apart, or any
Mm-hmm.
team, and what was the other one? Any team that was a team, but they give them the titles just to split them apart.
Yeah.
And
And you've got the Judgment Day, which, took a little while to get where they needed to be. They had to gain some traction, jump some hurdles or whatever. They're an excellent faction.
mm-hmm.
Not everybody's playing their roles perfectly. Everybody had a championship. Keep the titles there for a while. There was no reason to take the belts off of, Finn and Priest to a makeshift team of Cody and Jay who didn't need the tag titles anyway.
And this was their very first match as a team. You want to
Exactly.
kill your credibility of your tag teams in the
Yeah.
title.
Yeah.
You should work their way up to getting that title. Treat the titles. Don't treat it like it's a prop. Treat it
Exactly.
like an actual championship. Because
Yep.
if we were to go up to anybody in boxing or any other kind of combat sport and say, "Hey, this person's never had a match before. We want to put them against the world title," you'd get laughed at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'd say there's a whole
But
lot of people in front of them.
yeah, but hey, we're going to throw this together and we're going to throw these two together and give them a tag title shot. And hey, they win. It's like, I don't understand because now here's the problem too. The Bloodline was the best story they had had in forever. Somewhere along the way, they managed to mess that up
Yeah.
because you got Jay. Okay, the Jay Uso part is fine. You got Jay. He broke away from the Bloodline. He moved to the other brand. All that. He's a face now. All that. For me, it's the Jimmy part that's the problem. Solo is where he's always been.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy is flip flopping, and it's like it doesn't make any sense because you super kick Roman, you know, because you said that's what Jay should have done a long time ago. And then y'all end up, beating Roman in a tag match. But then Jay gets a shot at the title at SummerSlam, and Jimmy super kicks his brother. And then the lame explanation is, I don't want you to turn into him. But now he's back trying to get in the good graces of the person he turned on to begin with. So it's like, I don't understand where this is going now.
I should have asked Rikishi when I met him.
Yeah.
I did ask him about Pensacola, and he did tell me he still has property there, but that's
Oh,
another story.
well.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, he's like, yeah, I got property there, bro. And I was like, all right, cool.
But
And
yeah,
I,
but they just shot the credibility of Priest and Balor as a team.
um,
And unless they're going to hot shot the titles back to them, which in that case, they should have never taken them off to begin
mhm.
with, just like with Dom and the North American Championship,
That made no sense.
because it was a great moment for Trick Williams, who has worked his tail off to improve and get over, and he is over. He's like the hottest thing in NXT right now. To have him win the North American title, and then a week later he drops it back to Damien. I mean, not Damien, Dominic.
Yeah, I mean, it just, I mean, if you're gonna
It wasted a potential championship run of Trick Williams, which I think could have been really good. And then it's getting to the point where it does Dom do excellent heel work? Yes. But it's making him look weak because he can't win it on his own. He has to
exactly.
have the entire faction come out to help him win every single time. And it's like, sooner or later, you got to do it by yourself.
And not just a little bit of no, the entire faction
Yeah, not
include.
just Rhea.
Yeah,
Everybody's coming out, including JD McDonough,
but I
who
say
is not
that
an official member.
the hanger on prospect guy,
Yeah.
and yeah, so uh, and like I said, I mean, once again, none of the matches themselves were horrible. Um,
No, it was a good. I mean, it was a good tag match.
but by the way,
But
it's halftime. Raiders are up 10-3. I just figured I'd mention that.
yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
they're playing in Vegas, so.
Yeah,
But anyway,
we suck this year, but we're still not as bad as the Bears. So
um, speaking
the
of that,
Bears are 0-4.
I just saw our friend James from high school. The thing that he posted, it said every professional sports team had won a game since Elon Musk bought Twitter,
Yeah,
except for the Bears.
except for the Bears. Yeah,
And they had
except for the Bears.
not until they finally won last week against the Broncos, and the Broncos are horrible. The Broncos are behind the and I'm a Raiders fan, been a Raiders fan for 40 years, and
Yeah,
they're now they're bad this year, and the Broncos
yeah.
are worse. The
Packers
Bron
are bad this year. Of course, we've got rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
He needs time to just everything needs time to gel when you get a new quarterback in there. So
Yeah, I mean, and the Broncos they got folded up by the Dolphins.
oh yeah, this
70 point the second largest
yeah
points in a regular season game, third largest overall, because the 1940 championship game, the Bears, oddly enough, beat the Redskins 73-0.
yeah.
So,
Here's the
but
thing. They could have gotten 73 if they'd have gone for the field goal, because they still had like over 5 minutes left on the clock. And my thing is, go if at this point, go for it. You're not embarrassing the Broncos any more than you've already done for 4 quarters. Go go ahead.
this is a
And
professional team. This is not college. College,
this
they
is
actually,
this is not college with the
yeah,
mercy rule. This is professional. If I mean, it's not. It wasn't. It wasn't the Dolphins' fault that the Broncos' defense was notebook paper.
yeah.
It's. I mean, just that's all it was, because they were just getting shredded. I would have gone for the. I would have gone for the field goal and got 73.
Yep. That's how we roll. I mean, um, But back to um, the sport we watch the most.
Yeah.
Um, you know, the next match, triple threat for the WWE Women's Championship. Honestly, I was not really all that excited for this match. Even the competitors, I was like, why are once again, not a bad match. I mean, the three women who were in there, you knew it was going to be
Yeah.
that you were going to have some good stuff going on. Um, but it just almost seemed for 17 minutes and 20 seconds, which is funny enough, the next match, the other tag team match, was also 17 minutes and 20 seconds. Kind of a wild coincidence, um, but Io Sky over Asuka, Charlotte Flair, um, by pinfall, and it just was like, I just
it, it was one of it like it never got into second gear. It's like
yeah, yeah, that's
it's
the perfect
like
way to put it.
by the time things really got going, it was over.
Yeah,
And they can miss me with Charlotte showing Io Sky how to do a proper moonsault because Charlotte's moonsault is garbage. It's always been garbage. It's always going to be garbage. Io Sky has a fantastic moonsault. The only person that has a better one than Io Sky is Tiffany Stratton in NXT. Her moonsault is Kurt Angle esque,
really.
beautiful. It is that pretty of a moonsault. And have you ever seen Christopher Daniels wrestle? Um, where when he does like a moonsault, he'll jump up on the ropes.
Oh, and then spring it.
And did yeah. Tiffany Stratton does. She jumps all the way up to the top, and then does a picture perfect, just a beautiful moonsault. You'll have to look her up on YouTube
Okay,
and check it out because
kind of like Lita. I used to love Lita's moonsault.
yeah. Um, but I mean, she gets the arch perfect. She, like I said, it's like Kurt Angle in his prime moonsault. It's that pretty. And my problem with this match was Charlotte shouldn't have been in it in the first place. I'm tired of them horseshoeing Charlotte Flair into title
Yeah,
opportunities. You can't have her just, oh, well, I've been gone for 3 4 months. I come back, I'm automatically top of the food chain. No, you're bottom. Work your way back up.
work your way back up.
I don't
And
care that your last name is Flair. Work your way back up.
just like we are saying about the tag team match,
Yeah,
for the titles, you work your
yeah.
way up. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention about that one, I don't know if you noticed during the commentary, they said Finn Balor was part of the Bullet Club.
Yes, and they said Cody was part of the Bullet Club also.
Yes, so they actually mentioned the Bullet Club, not
Hmm.
the club.
The club, or not a faction in Japan like they did when AJ first got there. You know.
By the way, I think you can tell it's Hunter. He's the one
Oh, it's
doing that now.
definitely Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vince is not going to acknowledge anybody, and Hunter will acknowledge, you
Yep.
know, other companies and things like that. The only good thing about Charlotte being in this match is that she ate the pin,
Yep.
which I like that. Io Sky winning was the right move. The only problem is it should have been Io Sky versus Asuka 1-on-1 with no Bailey interference. Love Bailey, but they're making Io look weak because it's not making her look weak, it's making her look stupid because Bailey's interfering every single time and helping Io win the title, even though Io doesn't see her doing it. So eventually it's going to come to Bailey's going to be like, well, I'm the reason that you're still the champion because I'm the one that's been helping you out every single time you defend the title. Bailey's eventually going to turn on her. They're right,
You
and
can tell they're heading that direction. I
yeah, they're
mean,
heading that way,
yeah.
and that's fine because Io Sky can be a great villain. I've seen it in NXT, but she can always also be an excellent babyface. I've seen that in NXT. I've seen it in Stardom. So um, I think that program will be good, especially we know how Bailey is. She is, you know, she's selfless and she will do the job and put Io Sky over. But I just think the way they're booking it right now is just making Io Sky look dumb because she thinks she's winning on her own when actually Bailey's behind the scenes distracting the ref or doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
And, behind Eel's back after Eel's already told her, I don't want any help.
And I think, well, next, what's next PLE?
It's Saudi. Is it
It's,
Saudi?
I'm about to go look right now.
I think it's Crown Jewel
Crown
is the
Jewel.
next one.
Yeah, Crown Jewel is the next one. Let's see, and after that, it should be Survivor Series.
Survivor Series.
Yep. So if we go by logic, which if Hunter's doing it, then logic will actually come into play.
Yeah.
If Vince is doing it, he'll figure out some way to bring back Cena to win the women's title. But,
yeah.
I can see them. Io Sky defending the title at Crown Jewel while she's wearing a burqa because, Saudi. And still don't really care for that. But I mean, hey, it's their rules, so we got to go.
Yeah.
All right. But that is when she and Bailey, actually finally kind of split, which means Bailey and Io Sky for the title at Survivor Series.
Makes sense. Yeah. As long as they don't do that brand warfare crap again, like they do with every Survivor Series. Because if that's the case, then you got to have Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, women's champion versus women's champion.
I'd watch that.
Oh yeah, definitely. That'd be an excellent match.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Sooner or later, it's going to be Io and Bailey for the women's title.
Yeah, and Io Sky, I mean, like I said, every single one of these matches, the face one, Io Sky, I mean, I know it's kind of pushing to say she's a face, but you can kind of see they're kind of planting the seeds for a face turn.
Yeah, they're pushing her that way, yeah. And really the crowd's doing it because
yes, the crowd loves Io Sky.
Crowd loves her, and they're kind of doing with her what they did with Seth Rollins, and they're kind of organically just turning her face, which is how it should be anyway.
Exactly. Kind of like actually this team, both the guys in this team, because really, John Cena and LA Knight over the Bloodline, which by the way, a team that was just put together beat the Bloodline, who have been dominant over the past couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, for 3 years, it's been, the Bloodline's been running roughshod. I get that sooner or later somebody's got to beat them. We got that with Sammy and KO at WrestleMania. But they don't need to keep losing because the story's not done yet.
Right.
So I feel like Triple H fell asleep and Vince slid into the chair and booked that tag title match, because that's a classic Vince McMahon thing, is to going back as far as the Attitude Era, let's throw the hodgepodge team in there and have them beat the dominant champions on their first time as a team. I mean, they did it with Undertaker and Steve Austin. They beat Kane and Mankind for the tag titles the first time they were a team.
Which was another hodgepodge team that was thrown together.
Exactly. But at least with Kane and Mankind, it worked. It was,
similar characters.
Yeah, similar characters, similar mindset. But with, Austin and Undertaker is like, and they just, like you said, they treated the tag titles as a prop. It was just to further the story leading into SummerSlam, because Austin was the champion and Undertaker wanted to shot the title.
Yep. And I am right when I say John Cena, I mean, because he started out as a heel, but gradually, organically became not just face, but the face.
Yeah, when he was doing the rapper gimmick, he was a heel, but then the crowd got behind him and it just snowballed. And it's like, it got to where, we've got to push this guy because the fans are like, this is who we want.
Because he was good. I could, John Cena was one. The first couple times I saw him, I'm like, okay, I don't know who the white B-boy is, but he's good. He's
Yeah,
very, very good in the ring. And um he did change his gimmick around a little bit. He's not, doing a freestyle before every
yeah,
match anymore.
yeah,
And now he was good at it,
yeah,
but after a while he's like, crap, I gotta think of something again. All
yeah.
right. Um,
Here's the
but
thing with Cena too that I've always thought, the whole you can't wrestle thing, that's just dumb.
mhm.
Cena's a sponge though. Cena is going to if he's in the ring with a Seth Rollins or a CM Punk or a Shawn Michaels or whoever, guys of that caliber, John Cena can hang with them. He always steps his game up. You stick him in the ring with the great Khali or, you know, guys with less talent, people are like, oh, well, Cena was in a crappy match. So Cena can't wrestle because you weren't carrying the great Khali anywhere. Nobody could. If Triple H and The Undertaker could not get a good match out of the great Khali, nobody else was going to.
They tried.
They
I
tried their
mean,
best.
but LA Knight, I mean, we know just what was it, 6 months ago. I mean, he was a heel,
Oh yeah,
but he
yeah. He
was
was.
he was good, great personality,
Hmm.
charisma, and people just started cheering him. And
Yeah.
well, now I would say currently the most popular person in the company.
Oh yeah, and he is the past. I think this is the third month in a row he has been the highest merchandise seller.
I can believe it.
Because I
And
think the top three in the company is him, Roman, and Cena as far as
all right,
merchandise goes.
makes sense. Um, and Cena's always going to be up there because I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
just Cena, you
yeah.
know. But now they're going to be pushing this whole thing. Oh, Tribal Chief's going to come back. He's not going to be happy about it. Well, nobody's, it doesn't make sense. People are happy LA Knight won Cena because I mean he's the writer strike is over, so he's going to be heading back out to Hollywood.
Oh yeah. He's gonna head back out. Yeah.
Yeah,
But LA Knight's over. They need
very
to
over.
they need to strap that rocket to him now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not necessarily be the one that beats Roman for the title, but he could definitely be the one that beats Seth for the title.
Yes,
And, because if they don't push him to some sort of championship soon, I'm afraid he's going to lose that momentum because the crowd us as fans, we get frustrated when we know a guy should be moving up the ladder and the company doesn't do it because they think they know better. And it's like, I get we're not bookers, but we're the one paying the bills. So,
yep,
you know, you're supposed to be catering to us, not us catering to the bookers.
exactly. You cannot force. I mean, it's almost like like movies and TV shows.
Hmm.
You can advertise it all day long. You can say this is going to be the greatest thing since before sliced bread.
Yeah,
But if people aren't interested in watching it, they're not going to watch it.
exactly. And I mean,
Especially when word of mouth comes out and says, "Yeah, it stinks."
yeah, I mean, say what you want about Fast and Furious franchise, which I love the Fast and Furious franchise from Fast Five on.
I've
The
never
stuff
watched any of
before
them. Seriously.
the stuff before that, I saw the first one in the theater, and then it was like, and then the second one was trash, and then Tokyo Drift was trash, and then the fourth one was it was okay, but then Fast Five, where they quit worrying so much about the street racing culture, and it became this huge over the top blockbuster series.
Right.
It's just dumb fun. It's like you just sit down and just watch it, and people hate on it all the time, but it's one of the most successful franchises ever.
Is it as successful as this Police Academy?
I'm gonna say it's a little bit more successful than Police Academy.
But
Just
you got to admit the first few police academies were good. After that, though,
yeah,
it became they just repeat, 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 repeat,
yeah, they
repeat.
just recycled everything. They should have kept that as like one or two movies, three tops, but it should not have gone seven.
I thought part four was okay. The Citizens on Patrol, but But yeah, after that, yeah. I mean, four, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay. I mean, it could have done with you didn't need it. The first three, though,
Mm-hmm.
you could have just let it go on that. But
Here's the genius of Paul Heyman with this whole bloodline thing. Did you notice Paul Heyman's hair?
I did. In fact, I think the commentators even pointed out that he's gone gray.
Paul Heyman has stopped. Paul Heyman's been dyeing his hair for several years. He's been what's left of it anyway. He's been dyeing it. He stopped dyeing it
Yeah,
so that
I know the feeling.
yeah, he stopped dyeing it to give the impression that with everything going on with Jimmy being such a loose cannon and with Roman not being around and so he's trying to hold the bloodline together so he looks stressed and he looks worn, mentally worn out. Just that little touch of
hmm
just not dyeing his hair and letting his hair be white to show how stressed and nervous that he
Oh,
is about all
Paul
this.
Heyman is a wrestling genius. He really
Yeah,
is.
it's like, and it's like he didn't have to change anything about his presentation except that one little thing and made it all work.
Oh, they still shouldn't have had a team put together to beat the Bloodline, but
No,
but this will make his
neither.
hair grow even grayer.
Here's the thing: neither team. Okay, did LA Knight need to win that match? Absolutely,
Yes.
because high profile match. He's tagging with John Cena, who is not the greatest of all time, and I don't give a crap what they say. Is he a legend? Absolutely, but pushing this whole he's the greatest of all time when you've had Steve Austin, The Rock, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, Undertaker, when you've had
Shawn
all these
Michaels.
Shawn Michaels, Triple H,
Hmm
all these guys on your roster, I'm sorry. John Cena's a legend, but not the greatest of all time.
No, um, because some of his moves, to be honest with you, are kind of sloppy looking. His
Yes.
his STF is
Has always been garbage.
yeah.
That it's I, I've I've seen hundreds of guys over the years watching wrestling use the step over crossface, and I'm like, when John Cena started using it, I'm like, okay, because nobody can really mess that up. Yeah, he did. He
Yeah,
messed it up.
he did. Now, granted,
It's
it's better than the Rock's sharpshooter.
yeah, because the Rock sharpshooter was trash. Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Now, but the Rock Bottom made up for
yeah, yeah.
it.
Not so much the people's elbow.
Not the people's elbow. That's just an elbow drop with a little bit of theatrics, and
Yeah,
the guy's laying there going, "Can we just get this over with?"
exactly. Just like the five knuckle shuffle. It's
Yeah,
like
it's a fist drop.
yeah,
Only Jerry Lawler can get away with winning a match with a fist drop,
or Ted DiBiase.
or
He
Ted
used to do it.
DiBiase. Now,
He used to
I
do it
liked
too.
his. He would come kind of sideways,
And
and
he would a lot of times, yeah, he'd come sideways. Sometimes he'd come off the second rope, but
yeah, love that one. But yeah, but seeing in the AA, honestly, it looks like it's just kind of a fireman's carry into a suplex.
it is. That's all it
But
is.
yeah,
Yeah,
um,
it's just a fireman's carry into like a back suplex almost.
yeah,
It's like
and his drop kick honestly looks kind of awkward. But I think also because Cena's left-handed, but he's trying to do it like he's right-handed. Just like Bret
mhm.
Hart's drop kick also looks awkward for the opposite
Yeah,
reason. Bret Hart's right-handed, but he does a left-handed style
yeah.
drop kick. But and don't get me wrong, Cena, I don't think I definitely don't think he's aggressive all time. Um, I definitely think promo. Oh my God, how many people can cut a promo on Cena's level? There ain't
Oh
many.
yeah. I mean, there ain't many.
Right. But moveset in the ring, now Cena's, probably
Yeah.
a little above average, but he's not the pinnacle.
Yeah, it's Cena's always been one of those. He's got to be in the ring with somebody that can bring it out of him.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, like with Shawn Michaels, I mean, they went an hour in London, and he kept up with Shawn Michaels, and that's not an easy feat. Even at that stage of Shawn's career, wasn't an easy feat to keep up with Shawn Michaels for an hour.
Exactly. And, so um I didn't like the outcome of the match. LA Knight should have, yeah, LA Knight needed a win, should have won. I just don't think it should have been against the bloodline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now last match, last man standing, like you said before, this feels like the rubber match in a way because this is usually like the feud ender, but
Yeah.
Seth Rollins, Shinsuke for the World Heavyweight Championship. I still don't know what is this title supposed to mean, by the way, because you have Roman's undisputed, then they just kind of like, all right, we're gonna have a tournament for a new title, but we're gonna give it the lineage of the other title. It's like, no, this is a new title.
Yeah.
But
It's like, and here's the thing: if they're gonna do the brand split, and you've got a women's world champion and a men's world champion over here, and then you've got the WWE Women's Champion and then the undisputed Universal Champion over here, and stop letting people cross over from show to show.
right,
Like, Judgment Day is all over the place. I don't mind so much the NXT part because that gets some main roster talent to
right.
work
That
with the NXT bunch.
honestly, to me, that's like a minor league player being
Yeah,
pulled up.
yeah,
Hey, you know what? We need somebody.
uh-huh.
For the game against um yeah, I don't know, the Reds, against the Cardinals. That was like
Yeah.
the last, hey, we need somebody to come up, so hey, you've been looking good coming up. We'll
Mm-hmm.
see how you're looking
Yep.
now. And but
But it needs to be a clean split.
yeah,
And that way
exactly.
you got all your stories over here on Raw, and then you've got all your stories over here on SmackDown. The problem is they have one true faction left because they best with the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got the Judgment Day, which was working. Everything was working. And if anybody thinks anybody that Finn Balor or Damian Priest is the leader of that group, they are wrong. Rhea Ripley is the leader of that group. And for me,
Absolutely.
it just solidified it for me when she told Priest, "You're not cashing in tonight," and then said briefcase, and he gave it to her. And then she's like, "Rest up, we'll do it another night." That's it. She's the leader of the group. She calls the shots. And I like that. I like that because WWE has never really done that before. Like when China was in DX, she was the enforcer, but she wasn't the leader of the group. Rhea is like the enforcer and the leader at the same time.
When Damian handed the briefcase, he went, okay,
Yeah, he's just like,
okay,
oh, here you go.
whatever, mom.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah, here, mom. Crap.
here, title briefcase.
I just, I just wanted to leave with a belt. Ooh.
That would let's start tag team title. They can't cash in. And see, that's what I wanted to see though, because when they lost it to, I actually didn't see the part where Rhea, but I mean I did hear about it, but I didn't actually
Yeah,
because when I watched the show, I was
yeah.
already late to the
hmm
party, so
Right,
I was
gotcha.
after every match, I was like, I don't want to watch all the video thing. That's when I realized also
hmm
3.5, 4 hours for a show, 5 matches. They had a lot of videos, a lot of video packages.
Yes, yes.
And so I was fast forwarding through the video packages. And I was going, oh my God, how long is this? Why did that, and so I kind of missed that part, but like I said, I mean, I did hear about it later. And but when I'm watching the last man standing match, which was a good match, it was brutal. It
hmm
was what we expected, especially from these
Yeah.
two guys. We know they can bring it. I did want Shinsuke to win, um, especially when he sprayed the mist.
Oh
And
yeah, when he sprayed the mist, that would have been the perfect time for Seth not to make the 10 count and Shinsuke be the champion.
exactly. And the way they were very creative about like when Seth was almost counted out and he rolled out and his feet went down on the arena floor. I was like,
Yep.
okay, that's genius. I like that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I was waiting because there was still time left. It was somewhere between 3.5 to 4 hours because I'm thinking there's still time left to hit that because Mark,
Yeah, they could.
I wonder if Damon's going to come out and cash in because after a
Yeah.
last man standing match, I mean, they're beat to death and then it didn't happen. I'm like, it just ended. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
And I think that they should have had Damien. cash in because he just lost the tag titles.
Yep.
Perfect time for him to cash in.
Yeah, he could have pulled an Edge because Edge had done that in several times. Like even the same show, like he lost at Elimination Chamber. I forget the year, but he was the World Heavyweight Champion and lost the World Heavyweight title. Nope, he was WWE Champion, lost the WWE title. Then that was when he attacked Kofi and took his place in the World
Mm.
Heavyweight title match and ended up leaving with the World Heavyweight title.
I mean, the
It's easy.
briefcase.
It's easy to book. Yeah, the
Yeah.
briefcase gives you the freedom to book it that way. And the problem now with Priest being Mr. Money in the Bank is they've got a little less than 3 months
Mm-hmm.
for him to cash in because once the Royal Rumble comes, nobody's caring about the Money in the Bank briefcase because they're on the road to WrestleMania. The only thing that could happen is if he cashed it in at WrestleMania.
Which, of course, Seth Rollins did.
Yeah, Seth Rollins did. And so far, he's been the only person that's ever cashed in at WrestleMania. But if they're going to pull the trigger on Priest as champion, they need to do it now.
Yep. While, I mean, this would
while people are still interested because it's going to get to
exactly.
the point, but because they're going to lose interest once the Royal Rumble season comes.
Mm-hmm.
Once Royal Rumble and Mania season comes, people are going to be interested in who's winning the Rumble, who's going to WrestleMania. Everybody's going to be fantasy booking all that stuff. And they're not going to be worried about who's carrying the Money in the Bank briefcase.
So overall, I can't give the show a 5, but it definitely can't. You know, man, it's somewhere around a 3.
I was going to say a 3, maybe 3.5.
Yeah.
It was, like I said, it was a good show. It was better than a Raw or SmackDown show, but it wasn't to the level that it wasn't to the level of what they've been giving us the past few months.
Right. And having only 5 matches, you don't have your Intercontinental title, you don't have the women's tag, you don't have whichever title Rhea Ripley carries. I don't even know anymore because they keep changing the names of them.
Yeah, Rhea's is called the Women's World Title, and then Ray is the U.S. champion, and he's in a tag match instead of defending his title.
And not even a 6-man match.
Yeah,
I mean, put him against Lashley.
Yeah,
I'd watch that too.
Yeah, a 6-man match where they're short a member and they still win.
Right.
Makes no sense.
So they're stopping. I mean, of course, we never know. I mean, right now, as we're recording this, it's 2 hours and almost 10 minutes into Raw. So we have no idea what's been happening. Yes, I know the score. The score's tied now. Yes, I already saw that.
I just looked and I was getting ready to tell you, score's tied now, buddy.
Yeah, score's tied 10-10. You know, the score is tied. The score is 10-10. The Raiders are winning. There we go. Anyway.
Nah.
But it's like, what's the score? Nothing. Who's winning?
Yeah.
The Bears. Anyway.
Yeah. Nah.
No, the Bears aren't really winning anything this year. But so that's one of the things. I mean, I don't get why they only had the 5 matches. The vroom vroom every time they did a replay. Like, I mean, I didn't know what was going on because I was like, what? One thing though I totally missed because this happened on the pre-show was Jade Cargill showed up in WWE.
I saw that. I didn't watch the pre-show, but they did show a clip during the main show of her showing up. And I'm glad they're letting her keep her name. Yes. And they're not changing it to something stupid because it's like, leave it be. It's fine. Just let her do what she was doing in AEW. Just help her ramp it up.
Yep. And
don't mess with the formula though. She's good at what she does. So don't mess that up.
And I totally missed it because, like I said, I didn't watch the pre-show, and then I was fast forwarding trying to catch up.
Yeah,
And
through the yeah.
and here's the wild thing. When I was watching the last match and it had probably maybe 10, 15 minutes left of the whole show, and all of a sudden
Hmm.
it just stopped. And I'm like, what the crap is going on? Try to get back on. They basically stopped every single bit of it, and it said, okay, the replay will be available soon. So I had to watch like the last however many minutes of the last man standing match the next day once they made the replay
Ah,
available. I'm like, are you kidding
gotcha.
me? You know, it's like y'all couldn't, it was buffering. Y'all had to just,
Yeah.
but yeah, because I was at my in-laws house that night. Because my son's birthday was last Wednesday, and we actually went to my in-laws house on Saturday to have a birthday party for him. By the way, it was a Batman themed party. I'll have to, if we have a picture of the cake, I'll have to send it to you.
Okay.
And believe me, he is all about Batman right now.
Okay.
Because he's like, hey, tell Dwaylen I got this. Hey, ask Dwaylen about this. Hey, tell Dwaylen. Like, I was like, you know what? Next time I come on, you ask him. But um, but we were at their house. The pay-per-view has already started, and I was like, all right, I'll just catch it. Hopefully, I've noticed sometimes it'll let you watch it from the beginning. Sometimes it won't.
Some that don't. Yeah.
It's odd how that happens. I mean, I don't know if that may have been a glitch when it was not letting you, but like I said, I was fast forward trying to catch up. I'm like, I don't need to watch the video packages. That's when I realized how long the video packages were. And then, finally I was like, all right, I'm almost caught up. What do you mean it just ended? What? What the? Wow. But, oh, and while we were getting ready to record this, Kyle actually sent us another message and he has some questions, fun questions. And I like this. I don't know if you've seen the message yet or not, because I mean,
I
right
haven't.
before, he said, fun question. Would you rather take one, a suplex from Brock Lesnar, two, a chop from Gunther, three, a spear from Goldberg?
I'll take the spear from Goldberg.
I'm kind of inclined. The Brock Lesnar suplex, forget it.
I'm not taking that German where he throws me halfway across the ring.
Right.
Gunther's not collapsing my lung.
Exactly.
I'll just take the bruised or broken ribs from the spear from Goldberg.
You ever had a cracked rib?
Yes.
Yeah. They don't feel good.
No.
Um,
But that
but,
chop or that suplex is going to feel worse.
and yeah, I mean, definitely not the suplex because he just flings you and you're kind of prone.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
actually, it depends on what kind of suplex. If it's
That's true.
the way he does the vertical, I would take that one. I'm not taking the German. I'm not taking the belly to belly.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
a side suplex. You don't see a side suplex anymore.
Not much.
Which
Yeah.
was kind
Yeah.
of a cool move. That was a Ted DiBiase. He used to do that perfect.
Yeah. I agree. A standard suplex, yeah, I'll take that over I'll take that one over the other two. But if it's a German, if it's any other variation of a
Forget
suplex,
it. Forget it.
just give me the spear.
And Kyle also sent us a video. We had mentioned it last episode about him doing his bench press, and he was benching 585.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's that, like you said before we started, that's me and you stacked together that he's lifting.
That he's lifting. Kyle is bench pressing me and Dwaylen together at the same time.
Yep.
And so if you ever see a picture of Kyle, though, you'll see he has a big barrel chest.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he does.
So, but I mean, he's the kind of workout that he's doing to me. But the best way to describe it to me is almost like micro measurements, because he's having to sit to where he only goes down a certain amount.
Yeah.
He's not bouncing off his chest. I mean, he's going down a certain amount, but then having to push it back up, which would be even more difficult than letting it come down all the way. So you can have it's like, oh no, you got to stop, and now you got to push back. So it's like a micro tuning in a way.
Yeah.
So that's taking it to a next level. So that's a level Dwaylen and I will never see ever.
Yeah.
No. But not everybody can do that. So I mean, we gotta give Kyle some props on that. He can bench press me and Dwaylen. But speaking of shout outs, want to give a shout out to finish your wrestling. They hit me up this past Friday. Hey, can you do a podcast? Unfortunately, I could not because Avery, my daughter, she was in town. Oh, daggone it. Um, you'll see. You'll watch the score. You'll look at it. Packers are up
We're
13-10,
winning.
whatever.
We're winning.
But my daughter, of course, she came in Thursday night and she was here Friday and Saturday, she was Sunday, to be here for my son's birthday. And also, she was helping out because my wife's foot is still, my wife actually, her first full day of work was today. She done a couple of half days last week and now, today was all day long. She pushed through it. She was tired, but she pushed through it. But my daughter was actually helping with a lot of stuff around the house. And so I was, spending time with her. So I wasn't able to do their podcast. But definitely want to, the way they always put it with us, got to run it back.
Yeah, they hit me up too, but I was on a date with my wife, so
right.
I couldn't do it either.
And so I feel bad, but sometimes we just can't do it, but we definitely got to get back together. Those guys got to run it back. And Ted, we need to get Ted back on because I think once I think we're kind of getting back into the groove, so we can have start getting people back on. So Ted, he'll be able to heal the Podfather. Also, BC Hunter, Wrestling with the Truth, Wrestling with the 80s, Wrestling with the War. Definitely got to go check him out.
Yeah.
And the Dad World Order, they managed to get Al Snow on their show.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And it was a great episode. But I mean, those guys, they're hustling. I mean, they're working. And you ever see them? I mean, they're traveling not just from Cincinnati to Dayton. I mean, they're going out to Iowa.
Oh wow,
catching shows like that. Another person we haven't really mentioned, Kenny Cummings. I'll have to, get the links for his podcast. Kenny lives down in Lexington.
Okay.
He was in Chillicothe. Did you see the picture that I sent? Because I looked up and I just looked and I just started shaking my head.
Yeah.
But Kenny travels a lot. He's a fan and he has his own podcast and he interviews people from the NWF plus the company that's out closer to Lexington. I think it's one Larry D's doing. Was it New South?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But you'll see. I do believe this T-shirt I'm wearing says the Box Office Blondes, which is also the Hollywood Blondes. Rex and Adam Swayze. I believe they're also the champions for New South. I think. Okay. Don't quote me, but I'm seeing the posters and it looks like they're holding belts. But yeah, Kenny, good dude. I've ran into him at NWF shows and at an AEW show and now a fan fest in Chillicothe. So talking about economics of wrestling, he could probably tell you how, what he.
Oh yeah.
But and another congratulations to Justin, our friend, TNC Sports Talk. Brand new baby boy. Son and wife appear to be doing okay. So thankfully I think they're home now. And,
that's good.
Yep. But yeah, if we can ever get him back on the show because he's busy right now. So
he's busy.
And he's not sleeping properly.
No.
And but yeah, definitely check out all the shows that we've been talking about. Because we love supporting them. At least I know they like supporting us. I don't know if they love us, but they probably do, but it's a mutual love for everybody because we're trying to help all our communities growing, especially us, because we're trying to get sponsors. So if you know anybody who would like to sponsor a show like this, definitely send them our way. armchairbookingpodcast@gmail.com. Send us to our social media. Send us to our individual social medias. You can also find Dwaylen's Twitter, Twix. I'm sorry. Oh my God, I just said Twix at the Rockstar 73. That's the intellectual Rockstar Twix account. My other podcast is the Cubicle Chat. You can find a cubicle_chat on Twix and send us messages. If you know anybody I'd like to sponsor, if you have show ideas, because we're actually reaching out also to people to try to come on the show as well. I sent an email to somebody today and I courtesy copied.
Yep.
So waiting to hear back. I actually sent another message through Facebook to it's more of a local wrestler, but sent him a message, waiting for a response. I'd love to have Box Office Blondes, Rex and Adam Swayze. Rex is also, right now he's in a position where he's not sleeping a lot either because for the same reason,
Yep.
he also has a newborn at home. Um, I don't know how old she is, but I mean, she's, I think somebody told me, oh, I think she's finally starting to sleep through the night. So I'm going to guess
Mm,
6 months old, maybe, I
maybe.
don't
Yeah.
know. Either way, I'd love to have them on the show, but yeah, we've been, so we're working, trying to get, like I said, back in the groove, because we kind of took a little bit of a hiatus. Hey, reasons, things
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
But we've never been a show to have some in the can waiting, because for us,
Right.
with the same reasons what caused us to not ever do a show, it's the same reasons why we can't record
Yeah.
multiple shows at one time.
Yeah. It's hard to do with wrestling because there's so much wrestling and so much happens so quickly that it's hard to have episodes in the can,
Yep.
for backup in case we can't record because, you know, things happen so quick. It's, whatever we would have in the can would be obsolete by the time we got it posted.
Right. And we have talked about doing more old school stuff. We love talking about old school stuff, so that's not an issue as far as like the subject matter, but it is still finding the time
Mm-hmm.
in order
Yep.
to get those accomplished.
Yeah.
But I mean, uh, we'll see maybe in the future. But like I said, we also have families to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we really have families to take care of because some of them can't take care of themselves. And it's not,
Right.
not their fault, but, just things happen, foot surgeries happen, pregnancies happen, so we're having to really try to focus on that. But we still like to put out a good product. Another new podcast. In fact, they just put out their 11th episode, Nerdcast Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're they actually just, I haven't listened to it yet. That was actually kind of on purpose. And there's nothing against them, obviously, but they just did their own review of Fast Lane.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, let me hold off because I don't want to accidentally, you know, um, mirror exactly what they were saying.
Exactly. Yeah. I've stayed away from reviews, like Wrestling with Regret. I usually watch his reviews, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I'll wait till after we do ours because I don't want to,
Right.
unintentionally plagiarize anybody.
Exactly. But now that we've recorded our own, I'm going to go back and listen to Nerdcast
Mm-hmm.
Empire.
Yep.
So, um, but if you haven't checked them out, definitely, especially if you're a wrestling, heavy metal, anime fan, definitely go check them out.
Ah,
Um, I just lost Waylon for a second.
there I am.
Yep, there he is. Oh yeah, I can do that too. Start flipping my own camera, but yeah, definitely go check them out. I mean, they're a new pocket. They just put an episode, like I said, number 11, and they're doing
Hmm.
really well. It sounds really well produced. So it sounds like when they started, I mean, they had really done their homework.
Hmm.
Unlike me, when I first started, there was still a lot I had to learn, and I
Right.
still think there's still stuff I like to learn because we're always looking for improvements. But that's just how we are. I mean,
Hmm.
we know we don't have a perfect show, but it's not like we're just sitting back going, it's good enough. I mean, we're always
Right.
looking for ways. We're always looking for guests and just a way to keep it going. Especially when we accidentally got demonetized and it appears like it's not going to come back. So
Yeah.
it happens, but I mean, it doesn't mean that the show stops. It just means that got to do things a little bit different. So,
Hmm.
anybody would like to sponsor, send them our way. And
Right.
so, don't know what's going to happen Thursday. I told you William about this earlier. Um, because Friday I have a procedure in the morning. Um, just to be blunt, the name I'll just call it a butt camera, and and the prep for that, of course, I'm doing Thursday night, and it's going to be a game time decision on whether or not I
Hmm.
can actually record because when I'm having to all of a sudden pause and run to the bathroom.
Yeah, and you've had this done before, and that
Mm-hmm.
prep is like once it starts, it's like just Awful.
Yep. Because this stuff here,
Hmm.
yep, the polyethylene glycol, also known as go lightly. There's nothing light about that. When you're going, you're going.
Yeah.
But our friend Randy is actually going to be driving me to the hospital that morning because my wife
Oh,
can't
that's
drive right
good.
now. So, and Randy, his day job, he's an EMT, so he actually knows the that hospital actually fairly well. You know, because it's
Oh,
in
cool.
down, it's the VA hospital, but I mean, he's he knows everything. He knows exactly what I need to be doing. So,
Right.
and Randy's just a good dude all around, anyway.
Yeah.
You know, big wrestling fan. If it wasn't for Randy, I would have probably never gone to an NWF show because he was the one who introduced me to them.
Hmm.
You know, so and he stood in for Dwaylen one of the episodes when Dwaylen was, having fun down in Florida. Oh, so
Yeah.
but Randy was actually there when we interviewed Noah Gabriel, and so he saw what Noah did with our shirt. Yeah, no, we haven't forgotten. Remember, so but until we can record again, whether it's Thursday, whether it's Monday, whether it's somebody hitting us up saying, "Hey, I'm available for an interview, but it's on this day."
Right.
Um, actually, Wednesday won't work either because apparently I'll be starting my prep Wednesday and then Thursday.
Ugh.
Yeah, Wednesday at 7 o'clock, I'll start taking the stuff, and then Thursday
Oh.
5 o'clock. So yeah. Anyway, and I'll be eating broth all day Thursday. Stupid, not
Mm.
eating poopy, whatever. But until we can actually talk again, my friend, I'm just gonna say goodbye. God bless.
God bless.